Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I am Jen and this is Fundy Fridays, and here on my channel I talk about different aspects of Christian fundamentalism, American conservative politics, pop culture, and gay stuff. And today I have quite a few Duggar updates and one random Bates update just because they run in the same circles. I might as well bring it up, as well as some newly released via FOIA emails between Josh and Anna, and they are honestly some of the worst things I've ever read in my life. There's also been a development with the Dillard family. Apparently Derek, who is Jill Duggar's husband, he is now, I think, going to boot camp. He is in the process of becoming a JAG officer. As always, there are some things about the Joseph Duggar case that I can't report on. Some not so vague Facebook posts. Sometimes I can't give you all the information because it ends up being too much information. Maybe there will be some things that I can't avoid talking about, but for right now, I'm just going to stick with the news. So, let's begin. There have been a couple of fundies that we follow on this channel that have spoken out since the initial Joseph Duggar arrest. You can find plenty of statements in my other videos, namely Elyssa Petrenko, who is the sister of Bethy and Kristen from Girl Defined. This is a screenshot from Fundy Snark Uncensored, and I think it's from Alyssa's story, The Duggar Pattern We Can't Ignore. Dr. John explains why. And so this is Elyssa taking a screenshot of what she was listening to and then writing her own text on top. Oh wow, so this is a real deal true crime channel. Dr. John is a psychologist, and I just find it really interesting that a couple of the suggested videos are ones about the Duggar family and Ruby Franke, so there is some interesting things here that I wonder if Alyssa's thinking about in regards to systemic abuse in the church. Really good clinical breakdown of the Duggar family systems. I've been following the case with Joseph Duggar, vomit emoji. I know I was done with news, but this situation is just too bananas to pass up. My family actually went to the same family conferences, IBLP, as the Duggar fam, and went through 2 different IBLP programs where I stayed for 1 to 2 months at their campus Wild Times. This has been confirmed because Kristen and Bethy have talked about IBLP anytime a Duggar scandal comes up.
Well, we were involved in some of the programs. In fact, did you meet Bill Gothard? Because I remember meeting him once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Even meeting the man, who's like the big bad man for this whole thing, he was kind of a god in that arena. And I remember feeling that wow,
sure.
He was the leader of the entire program. It was like meeting the president is how it felt.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I didn't really care about him personally. I was just like, whatever, it wasn't a big deal.
And we also know that they were a part of Vision Forum, also heavily associated with the Duggars. #, thank you, Michelle.
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 Alyssa goes on to say, I strongly disagree with pretty much everything IBLP, too long to go into now. Anyway, this is a very interesting listen, not from a Christian perspective, but very informative. PM, and I can drop the link. Alyssa is extremely Christian and is in no way progressive or deconstructing, but it's interesting that she can talk about abuse with the Duggars. And, if you follow her brother, Michael Mershon, who I did make a video about, he has come forward and said that he suffered from sexual abuse in childhood and also went through very similar religious upbringing. So maybe something good will come out of this, some awareness, some safety, some justice. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting. Jeremy and Ginger have a podcast. It's funny, my head is covering Jeremy. They have sort of talked about the abuse. Obviously, this is incredibly triggering for Ginger, and I feel bad for her. I'm sure she wants to contribute to this conversation, but it just seems like it's just so upsetting and re-traumatizing for her to have to keep talking about this. And that's not her fault. I wish her brothers would start acting right, and keep in mind that the seminary that Jeremy works at is the Master's University. Well, John MacArthur was the president and chancellor of that college for a very long time. And even though he is dead, his legacy still lives on in the form of a lawsuit by survivors from his church claiming they reported abuse in the home and were told to just submit. John MacArthur and his associates are generally not safe people, and I just find it a little ironic that Jeremy works for them, yet can't understand why abuse is so prevalent in Christian fundamentalism. And not to mention the fact that this kind of abuse has affected his loved ones so closely.
Regarding your brother, everyone is responsible for their actions. So none of this is an excuse to say, oh, but the theology was poor, therefore someone's not responsible for their actions. No, we fully, as the Bible teaches, the sword of justice is given to the government to punish evildoers. That's Romans 13. So if you ever hear a Christian like Bill Gothard, actually, who would try to go easy on perpetrators of horrible abuse.
You said a Christian like Bill Gothard, but you're not saying
He claims to be a Christian,
Yeah.
right? So he's saying, I'm a Christian. And then he says, but we shouldn't punish abusers. I could go to anywhere in the Bible and it'll show you the opposite. Judgment is given to the government to punish evildoers. And so in talking about the theology, we're not creating an excuse and say, however, I will say this, young men specifically, but everybody, but young men specifically, they don't just come out of a vacuum behaving a certain way. There are contributing factors. And when it comes to the theology that was promoted, and then you look at Gothard's life, and you look at the over 30 accounts of accusation brought against him and his brother and others in that teaching, where, it was like rampant abuse in this form of abuse. You start to go, okay, something that they're believing, teaching, living by is producing this.
I know Kendra was supposed to have a hearing in April, but I think it got moved, and the judge ended up lifting the no contact order, which means that she can be around her own children. A judge has lifted the no contact order against Joseph Duggar's wife, Kendra Duggar, clearing the way for her to reunite with the unnamed alleged victims in her child endangerment case. Because remember, she's in trouble for that. Her lawyer submitted a motion to dissolve the no contact order, which had been put in place March 2026 through April 17th, 2026. The same day, a judge signed off on the request. The filing claimed the alleged victims have expressed a desire to have contact with her and that Kendra had complied with the order's terms. It is further ordered that the Arkansas Department of Human Services is authorized to supervise and facilitate reunification between the defendant and the individuals previously covered in the no contact order. The judge's ruling read. Certified family law specialist Rachel Bennett, who is not connected to Kendra's case, told Us Weekly that the judge's decision likely came down to a careful weighing of safety concerns against the children's well-being. The gravity of the conduct that led to the no-contact order is going to be the primary consideration here, Bennett said on Legally Us, since there was no evidence to suggest that the children were ever physically harmed or suffered any kind of neglect in the home. The judge likely determined that it was safe for them to reunify with their mother. Explained that judges in these cases must balance between keeping children safe against preserving family bonds. Asked how supervised reunification might shape the outcome of Kendra's ongoing criminal case, legal expert Bennett was clear the underlying charges aren't going anywhere. It won't change the underlying facts of the case, which is that she has been charged with endangering the children's well-being by installing locks on the outside of their bedroom doors. Okay, so that kind of confirms what people had been speculating about why she was arrested. By allowing contact with the children, the court has given us a strong indication that the criminal charges are not going to cause her to lose her children indefinitely. There is going to be some path to her basically coming back into their lives and perhaps assuming a normal role just as before. Kendra, along with Joseph, was charged with 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor in the second degree and 4 counts of false imprisonment in the second degree. Kendra was released within hours on a $1,400 bond. Kendra's endangerment arrest is not related to the sexual misconduct allegations against her husband. A spokesperson for the Duggar family told Us. Kendra's is a misdemeanor charge totally unrelated to Joseph's. Then on May 18th, there was some updates. Joseph did not go to court, but his lawyer joined via Zoom, and he had this to say.
And Your Honor, the state did file an information. We previously filed a written plea of not guilty. So I would simply ask for a pretrial date. I know you signed an order this morning allowing the state to turn over some of the additional, I'll call it DCF, child protection team type discoveries. So we'll still need to get a hold of that before scheduling depositions.
All right, we'll set it for July 14th at 9 o'clock and see where we're at.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Judge. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
It's just a pre-trial hearing where they figure out how they're going to do stuff and get all their details in a row before they have their real trial. So we might not even see him then. Again, I am not anywhere near a lawyer. He has requested to see his kids again. I'm not sure if he has been granted that. And apparently, according to this article, he has not communicated with them in 2 months. This article basically confirms that he has been trying to contact his children. He wants to contact his children. He misses them. And so we're waiting on the judge to see if that's going to be something he's allowed to do. He says that because of this ban, he can't even mow or paint or do repairs because of the proximity. I'm guessing that this hasn't been approved yet because nowhere in this article does it say that he got granted that. I feel like that would have been the headline. So I don't know how long that sort of thing takes, but I'm not rooting for the guy. A story with a completely different vibe. Derek, He's been selected for Marine Corps Officer Candidate School. So, okay. So he's about to really go through it. He ships out for active duty to Quantico, Virginia in a few weeks. Lord willing, he will commission as an officer at the end of OCS and then go on to do a couple of other trainings before getting his assignments as a Marine Corps JAG officer. Becoming a military JAG officer has been something Derek has wanted to do for a long time, and he even received a recruiting letter last year from the Marine Corps, but the timing just wasn't right for our family, and then by the time we were ready, we weren't sure the opportunity would still be available. After starting the process in early March, we have been surprised how quickly things have come together and the doors have continued to open. We can't deny God is leading us in this direction. Lord willing, after Derek's 10 weeks of intense training, Jill and the kids will move to join him in Virginia and then Rhode Island for the remainder of his training. We'd appreciate your prayers for health and strength for Derek as he prepares for and trains at OCS, and for the rest of us as we survive without him for a bit and prepare for new family transitions. And here is a screenshot from Duggar's Snark. Is a screenshot of Jill's Instagram. 4th of July celebration, sending Derek off to boot camp. Oh man, prayers appreciated. And then I wanted to talk about this before we got into the Josh and Anna emails, because that's going to take a while, and also the mood's going to completely change. So I wanted to go ahead and throw this Katie Bates thing in, because it's the talk of the town, and, you know, they're adjacent to the Duggars. Allegedly, Isaiah Bates got married this weekend, and some Duggars were in attendance. I will put that on the screen if I can find any proof of that, but Katie Clark, formerly Katie Bates, did a Q&A on her Instagram stories. And earlier this year, it was discovered that her husband cheated on her seemingly right around the time that she had a miscarriage. And the internet was pissed, to say the least. Apparently, she's going to stay with him, and this Q&A addresses some of that, but then it also gets even crazier because she starts talking about her family. Someone said, moving away from Tennessee, that's your support. It's dumb to isolate yourself, girl. And Katie said, I've been getting flooded with messages like this from people who are genuinely concerned for me, so I want to answer this as honestly as I can. A lot of people are confused by my decision to leave Tennessee, especially because from the outside it may look like I have a big support system here. The truth is, sometimes things happen behind closed doors are a lot more complicated and painful than what people see publicly. Recently, I chose to address something that happened throughout my childhood that I wish I had the strength to address years ago. Unfortunately, after doing so, I lost relationships with about 90% of my family. This has been incredibly heartbreaking and heavy to walk through. I'm not going to share details online, but I'm also done pretending everything is okay just to protect appearances. At this point, staying here is no longer healthy for me. I'm choosing to move forward, finally heal, and build a peaceful life for myself and my children. More than anything, I'm desperately leaning on God right now, even when things feel painful, confusing, and lonely. I don't have every answer right now, but I believe God can bring healing and peace out of even the hardest situations. Sadly, I've learned that not everyone will support your choices when you finally choose honesty and healing, and that's okay. Right now, I'm focused on protecting my peace, my children, and the life I'm trying to rebuild moving forward. You know, I'm not giving Travis any fucking credit here, but maybe he has helped her through this tough stuff with her family. Maybe they have a bond that is something that we can't understand because of what is not being addressed here, you know? A little bit more about the situation. She says, to clarify what I meant when I said I lost about 90% of my family relationships. After choosing to address painful things from my childhood, I quickly learned that not everyone responds to honesty and healing with support. Some people choose silence. Some people choose distance. Some choose to minimize or avoid uncomfortable truths altogether. But when someone has been repeatedly harmed, staying silent or distancing yourself despite knowing the truth can become its own form of betrayal. Neutrality doesn't always equal innocence, and it certainly doesn't equal support. I stayed silent for a long time, and I'm not doing that anymore. So it sounds like she's doing some healing and she's calling out injustice, and I still feel really bad that she's going through all this shit, and I'm not going to speculate what she's talking about, but we know the system that the fucking Bates grew up in is exactly the same system as the Duggars. So it could be any form of abuse, and it would still be horrible. And she's really brave for calling it out. And I'm sure that this shit with Joseph Duggar has something to do with it. I'm sure that the Bates, especially the girls, had to watch these people that they looked up to, that were their best friends, that were basically family to them, keep having abuse after abuse exposed. And so now that she's going to therapy and starting to examine some of these things and think about her childhood, it makes total sense that she would start to realize things. As Kylie Jenner once said.
And everyone around me were all just like realizing things.
I don't know. I'm proud of her for speaking up, and I want good things to happen, and I hope that if she's going to stay with this Travis boy, that he gets his shit together. He also said, marriage can be hard at times, and unfortunately what Travis did certainly did not make things easier. Trav and I are working through things and making really good progress, but there are definitely still hard days. With God's help, we're both continuing to show up for each other and our children as we work through this difficult time. Are you still going to therapy? Yes, and honestly, I hope I continue it consistently for a long time. The first time I really got connected with a therapist was back in February, and it's genuinely been life-changing for me. I didn't realize how much I needed it until I finally started opening up and working through things. It helped me understand myself better, process difficult emotions in a healthier way, and I truly think it's been one of the best decisions I've made for myself. Well, Katie, we're all rooting for you over here at Fundy Fridays, as well as the greater internet, and I'm sure she's got good people in her life that are rooting for her too. So, speaking of people who desperately need therapy, let's talk about Josh and Anna Duggar. In late April, early May, we were exposed, defrauded, hurt, offended, and humiliated to read the newly released Josh and Anna Duggar emails from jail. These are from 2022, and the reason why these are easier to get a hold of than, say, Kendra and Joe's emails is because this was a federal case, and also we don't have the current ones, so this is kind of all we have right now. Anyone can technically send in a Freedom of Information Act request, and the way that I found out about these emails was, of course, from Lily Archive, a friend of the channel, and apparently a Fundy historian, I guess, because they sent in a request and got a hold of these emails. Some of these I'm going to be reading from Reddit, some of them are going to be from people, and some of them are going to be from Lily's videos. There's over 300, and I wanted to be able to find the worst offenders. Congratulated Anna for making the scale numbers lower than expected. And he's always talking about, I want to shower with you, cuddle with you, kissy, sexy time. You can, he's also trying to get her to send pictures to him, which there are rules on how and what you can wear in those pictures anyway. And some say maybe they aren't just being used for Josh's enjoyment, but that's all alleged. So he's asking her to send in some pics with bra and panties, swimsuit. In one email, Jessa is telling him happy birthday, and he has to be like, you're the only one who emailed me. Gee, I wonder why. In this one, Anna forwards a message to Josh saying that his sentence was ridiculous and that it was a victimless crime. Can't even wrap my mind around this system of ours. What purpose does it serve to put a citizen away for that long, especially for a crime that was actually victimless? We're taking away a productive member of society, a business owner, a father, a husband, a taxpayer. All in our society needs these far more desperately than it needs more prisoners. Categorically, each of these is in far greater need. How can this even remotely be justified? The one positive I see, and please share this or anything you deem helpful, love with Mrs. Anna. The one positive with ridiculously long sentences, such as this, is that I think, upset the dog, is that I think there is a greater appellate consideration, more attention is paid. I am incensed by the ridiculousness of it all. Absolutely crazy. So Psalm 56:13 has been a comfort these past days, heart. And then I'm not reading that. And I think it goes to Anna at the end. Amen. Love you, my sweetness. Wow. I am just speechless. In another email, Josh tells Anna not to question him. Sorry about the misunderstanding this morning. This is what it was. I was confused in the way you asked me, but I was asleep. I would never have blamed you not calling. That was on me. I feel even worse trying to explain myself right now, but the only reason I was trying is because of the accusation of dishonesty. I am not, nor deceptive or otherwise. I have purpose to be honest in all things, and sometimes that makes it hard. But I want you to know that I'm being honest and to trust me even more as well. When I tell you something, I want you to not question whether it is true. It is. I know that the past has mad you question, and I am sorry and I was wrong. I also know the current lines about me feed into others buying in and trashing you /me/us /our family because they have bought the lies being put out by all this. But don't fall for those falsities. The enemy wants to have us divided. He wants our family to what they say it is equals a failure. But that is not true. God is on our side. We will prevail, and I will come home, and we will be a family at home again. I'm so in love with you, and I miss you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you're doing. And he's literally obsessed with sex. It's all he ever thinks about. He's the number one gooner. I don't know. It's really sad. You know that she'll never feel safe with him sexually or in any other way. Like, bro, doesn't it cost per email to send these? And this is what you choose to do with your time. I know they can't send real emojis, but like this is reminding me of like Yahoo Messenger. In this email, Josh is trying to convince Anna that he's innocent again. There was also correspondence with Hillary Spivey, who is Justin Duggar's mother-in-law, and her husband allegedly helped Josh. And Josh is talking about Jill and Derek, Ginger and Jeremy. Josh has the audacity to call Nathan Bates fat. Really? Josh Duggar? You're gonna fat shame somebody? Okay. This is from Josh to Jim Bob, and he told Jim Bob to tell this to the rest of the family. Please share this on the family group chat if you see fit. I really don't care what anyone thinks about me at this point. I'm not saying that flippantly, although I genuinely wish they thought better of me and would believe me. But let's even put that aside for this conversation. But I would expect at least a little bit of respect as a human being, which I feel like I haven't even received from many of my own siblings. I can guarantee you if they ever were falsely accused of a crime, no matter how outrageous the accusation, I would have been there to at least show love and reach out to them in compassion. I'm saying it to help you understand it doesn't matter what people think about someone else. As Christians, they are still required to show God's love to others, especially your own brother. It is shameful that I have only received one message from Jessa from my siblings and only one video visit, John, in almost 7 months in the county jail. Thank you, Mom, for the several visits and calls. With all due respect, shame on you that you didn't reach out. I know it sounds odd coming from me, and please accept this in all humility from my heart. God is the ultimate judge of me, and he is the judge of your life as well. What will you say when Jesus asks you what you have done to their least of these? Please think about it. Please think on this. Examine your hearts and lives. Examine your own behavior and ask yourself, how would I want to be treated? This is something I think mom and pops taught us from an early age. But somehow some of you have forgot, or you have been willfully chosen not to reach out to your own brother who is in jail. Traveling to do prison ministry in Florida is great. Coming to Washington County Jail before I was here to minister is great. Even going to the VA hospital to helpless people is very noble. Nice ministry and very admirable. Those total strangers in similar situations, but what about your own brother? Think about it, please. The biggest request, even if you still can't bring yourself to reach out to me, please show my wife and kids unconditional love and serve them and care for them in my absence. Who's to say you won't be next? How would you want to be treated? My wife is practically a widow with me gone right now. My kids are fatherless for all practical purposes. Think about it. Hug your kids tonight. Read them a story. Do Bible time. Do be too focused on money or work. It doesn't really matter in the end. Neither does fame. Love your wife, love your kids, love your family, and please show love to my wife, my kids, and to me, your brother. We are not ever going to agree on everything. I have defended my innocence and will continue. Get over it if you disagree. Love me anyway. We can disagree and still show God's love to each other. It is the second greatest command next to loving God with all your. Thank you for listening. Please hear my heart. And then in another email, he tells Michelle to shut up. Okay, Josh, then I guess we're not going to put money on your fucking books anymore. Like, can you imagine the disrespect that this pedophile is emailing everyone in his family begging for shit and then complaining the whole time? I love you. Thank you for the message. I'm having a really tough time. To be upfront, I'm still struggling with raw pain and hurts, mostly from family members. Of course, the guy who did the crime that put me in here is also top of my list trying to forgive. I just wish I knew everything and could see as God sees. Family members continuing to judge and condemn, saying hurtful things is so hard to deal with. The lack of Christian love and compassion reminds me of the Good Samaritan and all the people who get passed by. I get more compassion and love from strangers than we do from some. Not all. We are grateful for you. Of our family and close, quote, unquote friends, I'm still in shock and awe of how hurtful and judgmental people can be. I would expect non-believers to do worldly things and be prideful and hurtful, but I have seen less character from certain ones than I could have imagined. It's one thing to fight against the world and the evils of it, quite another to have attacks from those close to home. I would expect at least decency and respect for us and compassion for 7 little kids and wife crying themselves to sleep every night without daddy while he sits in jail. Even if I didn't believe someone's words or thought they were guilty of something that they said they didn't do, I would never do what they have done. And I can guarantee you, I will be there to show them God's love, then probably not if they go through something this drastic in the future. And I still pray that they don't ever have to experience this pain. Somehow it is easier for them to get on an airplane or drive truck and trailer to go help perfect strangers, sacrificing time and money, risking their lives, smiling and caring for them, and doing whatever is needed to show them compassion and love without judging and condescending. Yet they can't extend the same to us. Even just to be quiet and shut up and not say anything, but no. It's like they enjoy it and they have been waiting to ambush me. Wow, I'm sorry to vent. It's just where we are. Others are glad to gloss over their own personal indiscretions while hosting podcast guests and talking about their faith, all while saying things like redemption, love, mercy, grace, wisdom, and not extending even an ounce of any of it our way. The spiritual high and mighties with their educational prowess and pedigrees were exactly the same kind Jesus called out during his day. Oh, sure, he wasn't accusing them of the same sins that they were calling out, but it was a form of cancer of the mouth and heart that was far worse. Jesus saw their hearts and were full of dead men's bones, even though they were religiously impeccable and had the linguistics, hairdos, and prestige that looked everything like a saint. I can tell you, I think my record speaks for itself on how I would respond if the tables were turned. In another email to his mother, Josh says, I am not here for my actions. I am innocent of the charges against me, as I have clearly said time and again. Whether you believe me or not shouldn't matter how you treat me or what you say. I just think that you don't get it. You don't understand how you have hurt me, and you keep trying to make yourselves look good instead of trying to be concerned about your responses to my charges or anything else in my life. Pops, you just told me you are still the same proud guy and accused me of being prideful. I sent a very nice message to Pops while you were in Big Sandy. Please read it. You always feel the need to respond to public things that relate to my life. You've done it since I was a kid. Why? Can I say this criticism and have it accepted? Maybe it's because of your pride. You continue to talk about how you forgive others and try not to be bitter, yet you constantly are putting me down. Not just this situation. I'm talking years of it. Do you think it's helping me? Does it help you? Does it help the spirit of our family? When I try to bring this up or any criticism of Pops and Mom, they immediately point to my bad choices in life and then defend themselves. Really? You accuse Anna of doing this most of the time and you call her the most bitter person you know? Who's bitter? I am not trying to make this a tit-for-tat argument. I am asking a real question. Hold yourselves to the same standard you purport to proclaim. I know I cannot expect you to understand this from my perspective. I have tried. You've made promises to me as your son to be a safe place to share my heart growing up, only to have you berate me most of my... I think it's really funny that Jim Bob uses Josh as the bad example to tell the children, because he should be doing that. Life. I feel that I have just stuffed it over and over. It hurts. It hurts so much. Many times when you have family meetings, I am the bad example. Over and over, still to this day. My kids have shared it is still the case. And also, I like the part when Josh was like, every time I tell you that I've done something wrong, you just yell at me. You didn't break Michelle's prized vase. You molested children and then downloaded CSAM. Like, I sure hope you're getting yelled at. Why? If it's bad choices, what about all the other brothers and sisters? Can we air out their dirty laundry? Nope, just me. Why? Because think and pray about it. I am not there to be a part, but think about how you would want to be treated. Well, I'm top story on News 5 right now. Please stop making statements, just be silent. Why do you have to keep talking about me? It's bad enough with the world, worse with my own family. Please think and pray. Pray and think. I am praying for you. Well, I don't think I can say it all here, but I am praying. Also, ask Austin and Terry about Brandon Forsyth. Where is he? Who is he? What contact do they have with him? This is tragic. One situation or decision should not determine how we interact or reach out in love. We shouldn't disown or act like someone doesn't exist. I have got only one message from my siblings since I got here. Sad. This guy thinks he's a fucking joker over here. It's Friday morning. Last night, somebody FOIA requested the photo attachments that Josh and Anna had exchanged. I don't know how to explain it. These pictures are incredibly innocent. They're just like flirty Facebook mom photos. sent to Josh from Anna. And there's also pictures of kids and like her house and stuff. I personally have decided I'm not going to show any of those pictures because it just feels violating to Anna. And I already feel bad about talking about the emails. And so for this to happen, I'm just thinking like, in her culture, these might as well be nudes. So, and once again, this is just personal preference. I'm not coming for anybody who has shared these photos. Thank you everybody for watching my video. I hope it wasn't, I don't know. I need to stop doing that. I know it was a great video and I know you all love me, so I'm going to be confident, because if I'm not, what is there? What is there? You know? What, am I going to not make a video? Anyway, I love you guys very much. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry that the Duggars are so terrible, but I got to report on it, man. That's my job. And if you want to support us emotionally, you can just leave a nice comment, like, share, subscribe. If you want to support us financially, we have Patreon and YouTube memberships. They do the exact same thing. They cost the same amount. The tiers are just for fun. Remember, you get access to the Discord, you get merch discounts, you get exclusive videos. I'm working on one right now. I've just been thinking about how I want to do it, so I'm excited. And we're working on new merch right now. Just takes a while to get that developed. And if you want to check out the info box, I've got my stuff. I've got links to different articles I've been in, links to the merch, links to just fundraisers that I think are cool. And yeah, lots of good stuff. I am working on a video about Plathville right now, which is going to be long, I think, because I have to talk about season 7 and season 8, but I think you guys will enjoy that. And I do have another ad coming up, and I'm workshopping a character that I think you guys will think is funny. I love you guys. Stay cool this summer, and do your best every day. Bye-bye.